Missed 4 games, will be able to come off the bench and play some for the Houston Rockets tonight. Now for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Stanley Roberts will start at center. Cherokee Parks and Kevin Garnett at the forwards. And a late addition, Terry Porter, who was going to come off the bench, is going to start at the 2-guard spot with Marbury and Garnett, the young stars. And now Scott Hastings' trade deadline was yesterday, and it's still kind of eerie out there, isn't it?
I tell you what, it's still a weird story. Kevin McHale and some of the other people of the front office still up in his office as we speak. Anthony Peeler here in Minnesota taking the physical, and he's already passed. Doug West, who did not want to go to Vancouver and threatened not to show up, finally is in Atlanta, where Vancouver is playing tonight, supposedly taking a physical. But the twist in this whole thing is he didn't report in that 48-hour time frame, and Vancouver still could call this thing off. We should hear something a little bit later, and we'll tell you what it is when we find out for sure. Bob, back to you.
All right, Scott, thank you. We'll keep up with that. That's the Anthony Peeler from Vancouver, Doug West from Minnesota trade we're talking about. You see Flip Saunders and his team. There's Flip just now rising above them all. 3rd year, 7 years in the CBA before that, and a college teammate of general manager Kevin McHale. He is coaching the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Rudy Tomjanovich, 7th year, 308 wins. He's going to coach the 98 Dream Team in the World Championship games in Greece. And we are ready to get underway as Hakeem Olajuwon, who missed 33 games, has been back, and since he's been back, the Rockets are 12-7 in his 19 games on the return and starting to play better all the time. And happy birthday, Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury.
21. Think of that.
An old age of 21.
21. I met Stephon Marbury when he was just turned 18 as a rookie at Georgia Tech.
My goodness.
Poised even then.
Certainly played some spectacular ball for Bobby Crimmins.
Steve Javy, Ted Bernhardt, and Woody Mayfield are our officials, and we're ready to get underway from the Target Center in Minneapolis. Houston in blue, Matt Maloney at the point. Brent Price started at the point in the game against Orlando on Wednesday night because of matchup reasons, but Brent will be coming off the point to play the point from the bench tonight. Bullard sets the screen to Olajuwon. 7 on the shot clock.
You notice straight up that they're going to play Stanley Roberts against Olajuwon straight up, and right there, that's a key reason why they wanted to come out and really try to pressure the defense. They're worried about the perimeter shooting of the Houston Rockets.
The Rockets, they attempt 23s a game, which leads the league. Matt Bullard shoots them at 43%, 100% on that shot. And there you see the talent of Stephon Marbury. 2nd year in the NBA, 21 today. He's 8th in the league in assists at 8.2.
Rudy Tomjanovich saying that obviously he was concerned that they had to defend the pick and roll better, and Stephon Marbury works that pick and roll as well as anybody in the league.
Looked like Stanley Roberts was trying to front Hakeem Olajuwon. They lobbed it into him easily. Flip told us that they were going to try to play Stanley Roberts one-on-one against.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult to do.
Turnover. 3 against 2. Willis, look at him on the floor like still a child.
Just still a child, and that's one of the main reasons why Charles decided to stay, come off the bench, is because Kevin Willis is having a fantastic season.
17.5 points, nearly 9 rebounds. Some say it's his best overall season.
Oh, certainly is, at both ends of the floor.
Kevin Garnett, 6'11", passing the ball into Stanley Roberts. Cherokee Parks, they reverse it over to Terry Porter, the veteran. Inside, Marbury has it blocked. Bullard or Olajuwon got it.
Good rotation over by Houston defense, Bullard and Olajuwon. But one of the areas in which Minnesota really has the advantage, it is at the point guard position. Marbury has to make sure he has the ball in his hands and really trying to penetrate and break down the defense in the paint.
Stanley Roberts had to throw up that prayer because the shot clock was running down.
But a foul
and he was bailed out at the buzzer. The dream. Hakeem Olajuwon committed the foul, and that means Stanley Roberts will go to the free throw line.
One of the keys were hopefully that Stanley Roberts and Cherokee Parks would really have to be aggressive at the offensive end. You know, someone once said that the best defense sometimes is a good offense, and it's very, very indicative tonight that these 2 young fellas, Parks and Roberts, get off to a good start.
Stanley's a 54% free throw shooter. Sometimes he's not a good field goal shooter either, as Flip was telling us.
Yes, he's knocked a couple of paint off some iron around the league.
Glass.
But you know what? I think he whispered bank on that.
Rockets 7-3, 10-16 to go first period from the Target Center. Of course, Stanley Roberts, remember, preceded the Shaquille O'Neal. I can almost forget whatever that guy's name is
Going a lot, you know,
at LSU.
it's a tough name to remember.
He weighs about the same, but isn't quite got the same kind of body fat. Talking about Stanley Roberts missed from the corner from Terry Porter. Olajuwon steps back from 19 feet.
That's good defense. Good defense by the big fella, Roberts. Being active right now on the defensive end.
Rockets 7-3. Marbury shaking and baking. Missed his target. He looked over to the bench, did Stefan to his coach flip and said, my bad.
Well, he shouldn't have left his feet right there. He had Roberts on the block, should have passed it to him and then possibly drawn the double team and then the kick out.
Cherokee Parks trying to defend Kevin Willis. That's another tough matchup problem for Minnesota. Here's Maloney. Foul as he drives in the paint by Stanley Roberts.
Well, Matt Maloney this season's really trying to be more aggressive as far as taking the ball to the basket. Right there has Garnett and drives, initiates the contact, jumps in the chest of big Stanley Roberts and draws the foul.
Matt Maloney to the line. He's an 84% shooter. Matt is averaging 9 points, only 2.5 assists. He did have 7 versus Detroit, but last night. But the assist man on the Houston team is Clyde Drexler.
Oh, Clyde Drexler, like I said, has been, you know, the coaches were talking about his best game of the season was against Detroit last night. They said he was playing like a 25-year-old, but certainly is excellent as far as dishing the ball out to his teammates.
Third player to history of the NBA is Drexler, who has 20,000 points, 6,000 rebounds, and 6,000 assists. Only 3 players have done that. 9 minutes to go, first period. 8-3 Rockets. Garnett, they want him to go to the hoop more down there. He got it and kicked it out for the missed 3 attempt by Marbury.
Now, Kevin's a little lean on the body type, but Coach Saunders was saying that he really needs to stay down low, initiate that contact, because he hasn't been getting to the free throw line. He has been settling for the jumper a little too much for Coach Sanders liking.
Parks with the rebound. Houston started 3 out of 3. They since gone 0 for 3. The Wolves haven't been able to score either. That's what they want to see out of Kevin Garnett.
That's a nice move. Kevin Garnett using both blocks, coming baseline side. Nice dish by Stephon Marbury. Those two work so well together. And you see them in the future? My goodness.
That's why the people are buying the suites and the boxes and the seats here.
That would account for it, but you see right there, Garnett just cutting across the baseline, and Marbury just nice bounce pass and a nice right-handed jump hook. Say he's 6'11", but he's clearly a 7-footer, it looks like.
You know, in the last few games, he's been starting at guard, starting at forward tonight. He's got to be the tallest 2 guard in the history of the league.
That's true.
10 on the shot clock. Olajuwon having his problems with Stanley Roberts playing. Let's see if he can do it on this second attempt.
Hey, Stanley's doing the right thing. He's making sure he's contesting the shot, but more importantly, he is pushing the dream off the blocks.
Marbury from 18 feet. It's 8-7 Rockets.
Now, what's going to be important now, Coach Saunders has to make a change. Stanley Roberts is having a difficult time getting up and down the floor. You need to sub before he commits a silly foul and has to sit down for the rest of the half because of foul trouble.
Well, that's 5 shots in a row that Houston has missed. And now the Wolves have a chance to take the lead here. Timberwolves beat Houston earlier in the year, first meeting of the year. They won 116 to 115 in overtime, but they had
yeah, they had Googs.
8-7 Rockets. Drexler against Terry Porter. That's someone his own age. Olajuwon stepped inside of Stanley Roberts. Roberts knocked it away.
Stanley's just tired. I mean, he is just exhausted out there. He's having a tough time just with the quickness and everything. Oh, an offensive foul.
That's 2 on Olajuwon.
Yeah. My goodness. Let's see if Olajuwon hooks Roberts on the baseline. You see Olajuwon with a good position. Good call by the official.
So 2 on Akeem, Rockets by a point.
And then the last time before the timeout was kind of limping down the court, but so far in the first quarter, Stanley Roberts doing an excellent job, and you see him going off into the locker room to get the leg checked.
Okay, Scott, you know anything about what's up with Stanley Roberts? So
Yeah, Bob.
Akeem with the technical, and now we've got you, Scott.
Yeah, sorry about that, Bob. What happened is what Stanley Roberts did was twist his ankle just slightly. It's not anything that's going to affect him and not allow him not to play. Just going to go back in there. He's going to re-tape that ankle. He had asked to come out also because he was tired, but he's back there in the locker room right now re-taping his ankle.
And Terry Porter will shoot the technical. It was called on Elijah-Wan, and they'll sit down Akeem, who picked up his second foul, and Charles Barkley, happy birthday to you, is in the game.
Birthday boy. Was he 45?
45. 45, and I'm 35. He turned 35 today. Kevin Garnett will probably show it to you a little later. I won't spoil it. Kevin Garnett had a message for him. The young 20-year-old Kevin Garnett. With the ball now being defended by Willis and Bullard. Double team. Shot clock to 8. Tom Hammonds just checked in, tried to drive. Shot clock down to 4, but it doesn't matter as Hammonds turns it over.
Well, that's where Minnesota really misses Tom Gugliotta. They don't have that extra pass and that extra spot of shooter on the perimeter once they reverse that.
And it turns into what could have been called a 5-point turnaround. They missed the opportunity for the shot. Bullard hits his second 3 of the day. It's 11-7 Rockets. Hammond now working against the shorter Charles Barkley, but puts up an air ball. Maybe Tom is still a little antsy over his $7,500 fine for
I would be a little antsy about that too.
hard foul in Orlando against Derek Harper.
Charles just
Barkley.
absolutely loves the left side of the basket. If you don't play up on him, he'll knock down the fall-away jumper. If you play too tight, he'll take you to the basket. He's been mixing it up much better in the second half of the season offensively.
Rockets' biggest lead now of 6, 13-7. Marbury getting into the paint and kicking out. Terry Porter thought about it. 7 on the shot clock, though. The Houston defense giving real problems. Garnett got the good face-up shot, but he was just inside three-point line, out of his range there. 13-7 Houston. Drexler saw the 7-footer standing there in front of him and kicked it out. 10 on the shot clock. Hosting Willis against Hammond.
That's just a tough shot. Boy, Kevin Willis, that's a tough turnaround. Over the double team.
Marbury to Garnett. He's going to shoot that 15-footer. Garnett is really an excellent 15 to 18-foot jump
He's
shooter.
really worked a lot on his perimeter shot, but I would like to see him down in the paint. I think that's where he is most explosive. Little on the thin side, but still very effective in the paint.
Give him a chance to go to the free throw line a little more, too. Drexler with the drive. Garnett with a rebound. Stephon Marbury. Hands off to Parks, and he draws the foul. Marbury had, that's decision-making. He had Porter over in the corner, Parks following down, deciding what to do with the ball is what it's all about.
This young man is extremely talented, sees the floor extremely well, knows who is cutting, who's running the lanes, and rewarded the big man Parks.
Parks not a very good free throw shooter either. He's shooting 67% on the year. Former Duke star. Turner Sports continues to bring you great NBA action each week. Tuesday at TNT, Heat at the Jazz. Good game.
Yeah.
Friday, Lakers, Pacers.
Wow, that's going to be a great game.
Tuesday, Lakers at Wolves. And as I say that, that's Wednesday. The Lakers are at the Pacers. I'm going to do that game, so I want to make sure that I don't go there on Friday.
I
it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Show up the wrong time. Wrong time. It's
Wrong
on
day.
Wednesday. That'll be a good one.
Yes,
Lakers,
it will.
Pacers.
Yes, it will.
4:29 to go in the first period. 15-11 Rockets. Bullard going for his third 3. No! I started to say not this time.
Yeah.
And it was. Not this time. Marbury's pull-up jumper. Parks kept it alive, but Barkley has it. Now, Rudy Tomjanovich said he did not. Well, there's.
That's an offensive push
And
out.
that's on Kevin Willis.
Pass was a little bit short, and Kevin tried to push Porter out the way. Barkley was coming up. They were trying to set it up. They had made eye contact, and Willis with a little shove in the back of Porter. Porter was trying to get the call, finally got it. We go the other way.
Rudy Tomjanovich told you and I that he really wants to play much more half-court game tonight. They've been running well lately, Houston, but because they played last night,
He wants to save the legs.
They sure can run when they want to.
Oh, yes, they can.
Porter left alone, like now, for instance. Drexler missed the lay-in. Marbury, Porter Follow by Parks.
Something to get the fans into it. Get the crowd working. Get the crowd alive.
8-0 run by the Wolves. It's tied at 15. That got the crowd up on their feet. They love this battle. Had a birthday message for Charles.
Charles Barkley, 35. Nah, I'm not gonna, insult the man. I grew up watching you, big fella, 35, but we're gonna see how much juice you got in them legs tonight. See, can you really run?
Look at Charles. Look, it's as though he heard that.
Yeah.
How about this? Birthday, 4 career games on birthday.
My
18
goodness.
points, 10 rebounds. That's right about it. 2 technicals. I like that. Elijah Wan's had a technical already for Houston. Akeem has 2 fouls, is on the bench. We have 3:38 to go in the period. And the Timberwolves have been on an 8-0 run. And Rudy T made probably a very well-timed timeout there to stop that as Minnesota tied it up at 15. And Stanley Roberts, by the way, is back in the gym. He's gone into the locker room. He's back out. Fouls on Parks.
There's nothing that Parks can do once he gives up that much room in the paint. You have to put a body on Kevin Willis, body him up, take him off the blocks, and then hope that the double team comes down quickly.
There's Flip Saunders. He's quite the basketball player at the University of Minnesota. One of the best in the University of the Golden Gophers history. His guard played when Flip Saunders was a senior, Kevin McHale was a freshman in Minnesota. So they were actually played together.
Oh.
And Stanley Roberts is back. Parks, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 fouls. He had to assume the heavy duty while Stanley Roberts went to the locker room and is now returned. We saw him, looked as though he came down funny on his knee. He's got wraps on both of them. I think it was his right knee. We'll find out if there was anything further to Stanley Roberts' story.
Well, he's certainly moving a lot better than he did when he left the floor.
Garnett, he's too close, won't miss that.
He has that. Every time, just back Charles down and then turn over and shoot over the defense.
T-Wolves first lead, 17-15. 3 minutes to go, first period. Barkley against Tom Hammonds. Backing in on the shot clock. There's the double. There's the pass.
Hey, good, yeah,
but
quick.
the hands of Porter.
Very quick. See, now Minnesota's understanding that once they come down, they drop down for that double team, they have to quickly rotate in their defense and find the shooters. Terry Porter getting a hand in the passing lane that time.
Shot clock is going to wind down and did. Matt Maloney didn't have a good idea of where he was.
He had no idea.
Right. Well, it goes the other way. Scott Hastings, what's up with Stanley Roberts?
Yeah, Bob, I'd actually said that Stanley Roberts went in there and had his ankles retaped. He didn't even tape in the first place. Don't know if he'd forgot to, but he had to go in there and get both ankles taped.
Marbury caught in the air, had to get rid of it.
Pass. Go up,
Touch
big
pass
fella.
into Roberts. Still flopping around in there. Couldn't get it to go. However, it ends up in the hands of Terry Porter.
Even though Stanley Roberts did not finish on that, he's being active. And that's exactly what Coach Saunders wants.
Almost stolen by Drexler. He averages nearly 2 steals a game. Porter with 3. 20-16. A 13-1 run by Minnesota, basically since Akeem Olajuwon went out of the game. Willis out to Eddie Johnson, former 6th man of the year. Johnson gets it over in the corner to Sir Charles.
The defense was there. Hammonds that time has to recognize Barkley will pull the trigger on that 3. You got to get out there and play him honest.
Barkley with 5 points, a 2 and a 3. Garnett's fadeaway, not going. Houston with the numbers.
Nice.
Drexler from Barkley.
It may not look pretty when he's coming down the floor, but he's effective.
And so apparently, as Kevin Garnett queried, Charles does have some juice in his legs
He
right
had
now.
a little juice on him.
10 on the shot clock. A minute to go in the period.
Oh.
Tom Hammonds with his 2nd turnover in his limited play. Tom's struggling here tonight.
Barkley with his own gallop almost loses the ball, and he finds Drexler underneath for the easy deuce.
Drexler's first hoop of the night. 21-20 Rockets now. Less than a minute. in the first period. Barkley's just going to keep working on Hammonds. Hammonds is strong. Charles can't really back him in.
Well, all Charles is really trying to do is just draw the double team so he can kick it out to the Drexler so they can make that rotation and find the open perimeter shooter.
Garnett will inbound to Stephon Marbury.
King.
2 fouls and a technical.
And not happy about how things have gone.
Marbury just blows past Maloney like he's standing still. Stephon Marbury, incredible quickness.
Bob, he has that the whole night. That's a tough defense for Matt Maloney.
Stephon only had 4 points against Orlando 2 nights ago. It was only 2 of 15. 21 seconds in the period. Double team, and the Rockets getting it out to the perimeter, but Marbury nearly with the steal.
Almost a steal.
Knocks over the Coca-Colas down on the Houston broadcast bench. Hall of Famer Calvin Murphy. Yeah, get him. Get at him, Calvin. Kevin Willis bounces over the top. 11 seconds, 11 and a half seconds to go in the period. Minnesota ball from the target center. Maloney's life flashing in front of him here, having to try to play Marbury. He drives and kicks. It would have counted to Garnett, but he missed the jump shot, and the Wolves do have the lead at the end of one, 22-21. Stephon is having a happy birthday so far. Okay, Ernie, remember, we don't get mad, we get even.
That's true.
And you see Indiana's up there challenging Chicago.
Yeah.
And Orlando is not even in the top 10. They're 11. They're actually what would amount to 13 games off the pace. Those two are 12 and a half.
And what you see are 2 games back there, and they're all 10 and a half behind that, trying to catch that 8th spot.
If Orlando makes the playoffs with all the things that's happened to that franchise this year,
Hey.
Chuck Daly could, I don't know, be coach
Give
of the
him a
year.
bonus.
Yeah, he doesn't
Big
need
bonus.
he doesn't need a bonus. Give him a set of golf balls. Yeah, maybe he needs a new suit.
Good defense.
Intercepted by Eddie Johnson. Here is Brent Price just into the game, fouled as he gets down court by Sam Mitchell, who's also making his first appearance. You see that cut over the left eye. Sam Mitchell, in the game on Wednesday night, picked up 6 stitches.
Walking wounded.
Yeah, it was a messy cut, had to leave the game, then came back and did have 19 points and 5 boards despite being slugged. Actually wasn't slugged. There's Sam Mitchell. How about that? Franchise history, leading the rebounder.
Wow.
And Doug West is the man they're still trying to trade tonight.
No kidding. Sam Mitchell has been a huge spark off the bench for him, for the T-Wolves.
Sam's 9th year from Mercer. 6'7", 215. 14 Marbury.
Well, that was a nice play. Even though he didn't finish on that, took that extra dribble, almost knocked the shot down. But Stephon really needs to continue to do that come off, be pick and roll aggressive and look for a shot.
Charles Barkley driving, the foul called before Charles got in on Tom Hammonds. There's the look. Flip Saunders. You know, he's only 19 years old. Look at how he's aged since he's been coaching.
That'll do it to you.
He's seen it all. 7 years in the CBA. So Flip is a veteran. Eddie Johnson's leaner.
Tough shot.
Eddie Johnson, 16 years, still knocking them down, averaging 8.5 per game.
Well, when you think about now what Houston is bringing off the bench with Johnson and you throw in Barkley, and Brent Price has been playing well. Mario Elie, who's coming back from injury, but normally that's Matt Bullard. I mean, they have a very potent bench.
Sam Mitchell tried to lob it down inside of Garnett and didn't connect. Turnover goes to Houston. Willis goes to the bench. Houston scored 7 in a row before Elijah Wan sat down. And while he was on the bench, the net for Houston was +1, despite that late run by The Timberwolves, who are calling the timeout right now, but the Rockets leading it by 5, 27-22.
Right there, he's going to hesitate just a little bit, and by doing that, you see Mario Elie just going to come right over there and spot up, and the result is a open, uncontested three-point shot. You either have to commit to the double team or stay on your player. Rudy Tomjanovich loves that type of defense from the T-Wolves.
Houston 4 out of 7 on threes tonight. Been 3 lead changes in the game. Houston led 13-7. Minnesota led 20-16. Interesting game.
That's pretty.
Kevin Garnett from Farragut High School on the west side of Chicago.
Every time that KG gets his hands on the ball, especially with Barkley defending him, he has to turn over and shoot right over him.
Barkley giving Tom Hammonds a hard time here tonight. 10 on the shot clock for Charles. There comes the double team. It's open again. Not this time. Garnett the rebound. Mario Elie has missed 4 games with a sore ankle. He's only going to play about 15-20 minutes tonight because it's still hurting him. Elie didn't get to the switch on time. They were trying to get Bryce around it. Olajuwon tried to save it, threw it out of bounds.
Stephon is just hesitating just a little bit, Bob, on his shot. He's anticipating Olajuwon blocking his shot. He has to go in there and be that fearless point guard that he's been the whole season and take that shot. If it gets blocked, it gets blocked. You get it back.
9:26 to go in the half. Rockets by 3 points. Roberts. Garnett, he'll take that one and make that one. That was in about an 18-footer.
Yeah.
10 points for Garnett. He leads all scorers. It's a 1-point game again. Roberts fouled Olajuwon that time, reaching in. That'll be 2 on Roberts.
Boy, look at the defense right there, and you see Stanley Roberts demanding the double team, and boy, Kevin Garnett with a nice stroke, 18-footer. Been working on his outside game, and it shows. 10 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist.
Olajuwon missed 33 games. He's been back 19 coming in tonight. He has 2 fouls on him, including that technical, and knocks them both down, Cheryl.
He's been really trying to get himself back into playing shape, and he played the first game he returned. Coach Rudy T said it was as if he had never left. Had the step, had the shot, had the aggression and everything.
Trying to get it into Roberts. Olajuwon poked it loose, blocked it after that, but they're going to call him for the foul. That'll be 3 on the Dream.
Again, the worst thing that can happen to you as a post player is your shot get blocked. The best thing is you get to the free throw line and you draw a foul just like Stanley Roberts. Do not quit on the play, and that's what Roberts did.
Roberts went to the line previously and missed them both.
You know, you almost get the sense, Bob, that you're just waiting for Houston to go on one of their runs.
I think they're waiting for this free throw.
It might be that. Boy, Stanley Roberts just backs in. Olajuwon gets good position. The ball is tipped. He stays with it, loses it, and goes up. Well, that looked like a clean block.
Sure did.
That looked like a clean block.
Stanley tipped it away from Elie. Another foul underneath on Houston. Hustle. Stanley following his shot. Elie picks up the personal, and now Tom Hammonds will go to the free throw line. Tom's a 68% shooter. He spent the last 4 years with Denver. Signed as a free agent. Last 4 games, 23 points, 10 boards. He's been playing well. Struggling here tonight.
He's struggling a little tonight, but the one thing that Tom Hammonds really gives the T-Wolves is that aggressiveness, that physicalness in the paint that sometimes, you know, Stanley Roberts hasn't brought on a consistent basis. Not the case tonight. Stanley Roberts certainly being very physical in this game.
You saw just a moment ago that Terry Porter came back into the game. Hammonds missed the free throw. 28-27 Rockets, 8:40 to go, first half. Along with Scott Hastings, Cheryl Miller, Bob Neal with you. The Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Pick and roll. Olajuwon. Roberts with a rebound. Here's Sam Mitchell. Got a height advantage there. He's a pretty good shooter, but missed it. They're going to call Brent Price for getting him on the elbow.
Boy, Brent should have just left him alone. That was a tough shot away from the basket on Sam Mitchell. It spun off the defense.
Sam's been playing well in his last 10 games. He's averaging 14 points and 6 boards in about 33 minutes. Everybody's had to step it up since Gugliotta and Chris Carr went out with their injuries. Turner Sports continues bringing you great NBA action each week. Tuesday on TNT, the Heat's at the Jazz. Lakers Pacers Wednesday on TBS. Lakers back here at Minnesota next Friday on TNT. And that was it. Clippers was here.
That was doing a little clipping right now, a little hangnail action.
Stephon Marbury says, don't say Clippers. We'll hear about that. Wolves leaded by a point. 8:10 to go in the first half. Here's Barkley still working on Adams, reversing. Brent Price. That's a triple. Houston attempts 20 threes a game. They're 5 of 9, so they're almost halfway there.
Yeah, Price and Johnson and Barkley just set up the T-Wolves defense on that play.
Hammonds is left alone. Rockets by 2. Eddie Johnson's going to try for a 3. Roberts with the rebound. He has 3.
That's right. Give it to him.
Look how quickly the double team gets to Garnett. The open man is Sam Mitchell. He doesn't miss it when he's open.
Yeah, certainly doesn't. Good ball rotation by the T-Wolves out of the double team.
Tied at 31. It's been a pretty good game.
It certainly has.
Juwan facing Stanley Roberts.
Good defense. Good defense.
5 on the shot clock. Nice pass inside. Barkley missed it down there.
Barkley has a good complaint because Stanley Roberts was all over him.
Sam Mitchell. Hammond's got away with the push. Almost got the rebound, but Brent Price collects the loose ball. That's a 3 for Brent Price. 6 out of 10. Houston from beyond the arc. That's why they're leading 34-31.
Coach Saunders, again, before shoot-around said the key for them was to try to stop the perimeter game of Houston, and they have not done that.
Stanley Roberts, double team. He's going to shoot it anyway. From in there, Stanley Roberts knocks it down.
Well, he can afford to do that. Olajuwon does not want to pick up a foul. He'll go right at him.
Right back to Akeem. Rebound, Kevin Garnett. What an exciting young player. Look at this man. He's 6'11", handles the ball, and as I told you, he started the last 2 games as a 2-guard. Mercy.
Just give it to him. Give it to him quickly. There you go.
Good pass to Sam Mitchell. Garnett working inside. Stripped away. Nice defense again. Eddie Johnson. Brent Price. Missed the lay-in. I think he got the ball too late from Eddie Johnson.
He did. But still, he still should have made that.
I knew you were going to say that. 5:35. Offensive foul. 5:35 to go in the half. That's on Kevin Garnett, his first.
Wow. The officials say that he had hooked, and very good call. Had his arm locked. Good call by the official.
All right, Houston ball as Kevin Garnett goes to the bench. He only has 1 personal foul. Barkley. Eddie Johnson swinging it to Brent Price. Inside Kevin Willis. This is a veteran team here.
Yeah, they just know how to work the clock, know where everyone's at, take a high-quality shot.
As Rudy Tomjanovich says, unfortunately, you have to hit the shot. He says, else we win all our games because we know how to play.
Hey, they know how to execute in their half court. We just have to knock down the shots.
That gives the T-Wolves the lead once again, 35-34. Off the bench, Mitchell with 6 in the quarter. Barkley waits for the double team. It's so predictable, but it's effective. Parks tips it away, but controlled by Ellen. past Willis. Willis is fouled before the shot. Look at this. Elijah Wan and Drexler are only 2 out of 12 here tonight, but the rest of the team 10 of 19, and 6 of the baskets that have been made are threes.
Yeah, well, they certainly, those two, Elijah Wan and Drexler, have struggled. Elijah Wan obviously in foul trouble as well. Haven't had the typical first half that they would like to, but the rest of the team has picked up the slack.
Brent Price off the 24-second clock, posted on top of the backboard, and the ball will turn over to Minnesota with a 1-point lead. 4 ties, 7 lead changes already in this game. Ran way up on Vancouver. We still haven't had any final word on the Doug West Anthony Peeler trade. Try to have some play at halftime. Tom Hammonds in the paint scores.
That was just muscle. That was all muscle by Hammonds over Barton.
You know, Hammonds is an off-season drag racer.
Really?
Yeah. I was just talking to him about it before the ball game.
Talking stock cars and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I told him I said, be careful of yourself. Scott Hastings, do you have anything on that Peeler West deal?
I tell you what, here's what's going on. Doug West is in Atlanta, where Vancouver's playing, as you just said, Bob. Took his physical. Results of the physical will not be released until tomorrow. However, talking with the public relations department of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they still don't know whether or not Vancouver will void this thing because of the 48 hours that took Doug West longer to appear in Vancouver than is allowed. So that's still up in the air, but he has taken or is taking the physical right now. Results will not be released until tomorrow. Bob?
What a frenzy the trading has been. 3 that I can remember off the top of my head refused to show up. Anderson refused to go to Toronto. Cycling refused to go to Utah. And now West and Vancouver, although West has now shown up.
You know what eventually will happen, not only will, you know, VPs of basketball operation, GMs have to worry about trying to get everybody under salary cap because of a trade, or whether or not a player wants to come. It's ridiculous.
Some players put in their contract an approval on trades. But why put that in the contract if you can make a decision on whether it's in there or not?
You know, I'm all for players. I think that they should receive the big, the big paychecks and everything else, but you can't have it all.
Owners may reopen that collective bargaining agreement.
Yep.
I see it coming after the season. Could be some labor wars. Wolves by a point. Loose ball foul. It's going to go against Cherokee Parks. And Parks has 3 now, and they're in the penalties. So we'll walk down to the other end with 3:27 to go in the first half from the Target Center in Minnesota, and the Timberwolves are leading it by a point.
If you're Coach Saunders, you don't mind a foul like that because Parks is being aggressive on the offensive boards.
Kevin's a pretty good free throw shooter. Better than pretty good for a big man, even though he missed 81%. NBA is on NBC this Sunday. Game 1 of a doubleheader. The same Rockets travel to New York to face the Knicks. Game 2, Shaq makes his official return to Orlando as the Lakers meet the Magic. Covering gets underway at 12:30 with Showtime NBA on NBC this weekend, which is mere hours away.
Yes.
Back at 37. Brent Price trying his hand at defending Stephon Marbury. Out of bounds off Price, 13 on the shot clock. They have around 17,500 here at the Target Center tonight. This is their 7th sellout of the season.
They have to be pleased with the way that the T-Wolves have been playing. First half.
7 on the shot clock. Barkley on Stephon Marbury now. Open man. Sam Mitchell usually hits those. Didn't on that occasion. And the Rockets have the chance to get the lead.
And Bob, that's where Anthony Peeler will be a huge plus for them because they need that additional scoring threat on the perimeter.
Price kind of took a flop there. Saved by Willis. New shot clock. Kevin, because he saved it, gets the shot.
Well, Houston is just so good at picking his defense apart, making the extra pass and finding the open man.
Hammond setting the High screen and roll. Just a little bit short.
Well, he's shooting on his way down. Shooting on his way down is what is causing a flat shot.
Mitchell with 3 straight misses. Now that's a foul in there. You get in there and you look up and you see Sam Mitchell and Stanley Roberts. We have a timeout on the floor.
More fun to much.
Welcome back to the Target Center. We talk about the big crowd here. They love the basketball, and it's practically spring in Minnesota. 40 degrees today, Cheryl.
And Bob, we've talked a lot about Houston with great ball movement out of the double team. Well, here's Minnesota displaying the same thing. Ball is dumped down to Kevin Garnett, who draws it. He outlets it cross court to Hammonds, who finds Mitchell wide open, who cans it.
We have a 2-point Rockets lead with 2:12 to go in the first half. Bullard will inbound. Matt Bullard spent most of his career with Houston. Drexler. Well, that's a nice matchup.
Yeah,
Drexler. You see Kevin swatting away with 6 on the clock.
And Kevin just waited for Drexler to show him the ball to knock it out of bounds.
Garnett's future. I mean, his present is nice.
Yeah, he's not the truth.
Forget about the future. Wolf with a chance to.
Oh, nice acceleration. Nice acceleration. Past the trees. Marbury just buried his head and took it to the hole.
Talking to Kevin McHale today, he says one of the things that he does, even though he's a general manager, is talk about experience and play. And he's been talking to Stephon Marbury, who is so fast, about the change of pace. He said, if you're going 100 miles an hour, you have nowhere to go in a change of pace.
That's very true.
You just saw there.
That's very true. And you know what? Stephon, as his game continues to grow, is really showing that. You see him going past the big guys, and he finds the lane and accelerates to the basket. Untouched.
That was a travel on the other end, and the turnover for Houston comes back to Stephon Marbury, left alone for that jumper. Oh, he's having a heck of a first half. 10 points for the birthday boy.
Bob, it's so exciting to watch because you talk about the upswing potential of Kevin Garnett. Stephon Marbury could end up being one of the best point guards in the league.
Bullard hits that 3 again. When he sets for the 3, he is really dangerous. 3 out of 4 tonight for Matt Bullard. Now the Rockets are up by a point with a minute to go in the half.
Well, it always amazes me when you have guys like Tony Kukoc and Matt Bullard, that size, being able to knock it down, and then you have Marbury just return the favor.
They're raining threes here. 44-42 T-Wolves. Last 7 points for the Timberwolves have been scored by Stephon. Barkley inside. 3 on the shot clock. Charles, I like something that Charles said. You know, he's so outrageous. We have something we made of you here. I know that you may want to have a bone to pick with him. But Charles said something about himself. He speaks his mind either way. He says, I was a great player. Now I'm just a good player. Well, that's pretty honest about it.
That's very honest, you know, not too many people. But again, you have to look at what Charles Barkley has done.
Denver. Look at his minutes tonight. Responsible at 23 of the 44 points.
That's amazing. Absolutely
amazing. The
amazing.
assists. 9.6 seconds in the half. Minnesota and the Rockets are tied at 44. Mitchell sets the pick from Marbury, dribbles it off his foot. Just as we're
and one of the Drexler just spinning and throwing it up. Good call by the officials. One line over the three-point line. Another look of it. The nice reverse, splits the defense, goes up on Kevin Garnett. Tough shot to make. And then the argument for the 3. Wow.
1 at the 3. Rockets lead it at the half, 46-44.
8.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 38 minutes, shooting 50% from the field and 82 from the free throw line. That's something huge to try to fill for the T-Wolves.
Garnett misses it, tried to run it down. Long rebound goes out of bounds, and his vision and leadership goes without saying.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's going to be tough for this team to rebound, but again, when you talk about long-term and the players, the long-term players really trying to battle back and play through adversity, this could be good for the T-Wolves in the future.
Stanley Roberts did a good job in Olajuwon in the first half. Hakeem was only 1 out of 6 from the floor. 8 on the shot clock. Offensive foul.
Actually, it was 3 seconds. 3 seconds called. Boy, Hakeem's having a tough time getting into any type of rhythm and flow. Every time he hears a whistle, he's almost thinking that it's a foul called somewhere. It's a little shell shocked.
3-second violation for Houston. They're up by 2. Look at that ball.
That's nice.
Inside. Stanley Roberts, I thought he had a poster.
I really did. That was a nice play. Great ball movement. Just didn't finish it. But again, Stanley Roberts actually keeping up where he left off in the first half as far as being active on the offensive end.
And getting in the face of Olajuwon.
Good defense.
Gary Porter wanted to pass to Marbury, who turned his head, almost turned the ball over. Speaking of Marbury, he's the only Timberwolf to score in the last 5 minutes. Going back to the second quarter. They need to find some balance here somewhere. when Stanley Roberts backs in, you can see that he's not in the kind of game shape he needs to be.
Great game shape, and it's hard to put the brakes on something like that once it's going in the opposite direction. Matt Maloney knocking down the long 3.
I thought for a minute there it was Rick Mahorn playing defense, letting him flop.
Yeah. I don't think he was trying to let him flop. He was just trying to get out of the way.
You don't see many offensive flops.
Yeah, that's true.
Terry Porter missing. Marbury got it outside the cylinder, tipped it in. That counts. Garnett, I should say, as Cherokee Parks and Kevin Garnett are having a conversation here about how they're playing defense. I think we're going to see him in action here in a minute. Maloney trying to penetrate. Does. Hits the shot. That's tough. He's forced out of the lane.
Yeah. Falling away from the basket at that 0 spot baseline shot. It's tough to make.
Maloney's 2 for 2. Opening moments. Third quarter. Porter with the ball fake. Lets Drexler fly by and then easily hits the 18-footer. And Terry has 7 points.
Those two have seen enough of each other playing in Portland together on that very explosive team. Know each other very well going head-to-head tonight.
Maloney tried to find somewhere to go with a dribble. Just couldn't go anywhere. Gave it up to Drexler. He tried the long one over the backboard. And Clyde Drexler tonight, after a great night last night, is only 2 of 10.
Well, you can understand. I mean, if you'd have seen the ball game that he played, especially on the defensive end, he had to defend. Grant Hill did an excellent job and got it done on the offensive end as well. Might be a little tired coming into tonight's game.
Nearly had a steal there. Here's Garnett. Hands off to Parks. Olajuwon in the air.
Got to finish that.
Roberts throws it back down.
There you go, big fella. Turn around and flush it.
Rockets by a point. Roberts and Olajuwon are just manning each other down there on the block. Look at the job he's doing.
Good defense by Stanley Roberts. Boy, he is tired, but he is doing it at both ends of the floor.
Olajuwon's 1 for 8.
1 for 8. Good defense. You see, Cherokee Parks is going to miss this. Stanley Roberts is just going to move Olajuwon out the way and just flush it, and then just putting the body on Olajuwon. 1 for 8. Reason being Stanley Roberts.
Kevin Willis picked up the personal foul, his second. Marbury's runner. It's out of bounds off Houston. Minnesota's ball, trailing the Rockets by 1. 8:14 to go, third quarter.
Boy, Stanley Roberts trying to grasp some air right now, breathing a little hard. Certainly is doing an excellent job at both ends of the floor, really working hard.
Kevin Garnett went for the 3. Again, that's not where Flip Saunders wants it.
That's not a really good shot by Kevin Garnett, only shooting 27% behind the three-point arc.
Olajuwon gets that one to go in, and that's only 5 points in this game for the Dreamers. Porter misses. Willis
executing their half-court offense.
Willis against Parks. Foul before the shot.
So that's just experience with Houston. They come down, they force you to take a poor shot, come down and execute in their half-court game.
That's 4 on Parks, and now they're saying it was during the shot, and Willis will step to the free throw line.
It certainly was. It was all on his
It was before, during,
and after.
Minnesota, we were talking about their trouble scoring. They're only 3 of 10 from the floor in this period.
And the reason they've been in this game really has been their defense.
We told you Stephon Marbury has been primarily the scoring threat. Only 10 points at the half for Kevin Garnett. And he hasn't scored but the 2 free throws. The basket earlier in this game. Porter to Garnett.
Oh, no.
Should have shot that.
Yeah, sure.
Easy for us.
Taken that one.
Easy for me to coach. Bullard, who was hot from beyond the arc, thought about that one. That wasn't touched by Minnesota. It'll be a turnover.
Obviously, it's got to be a little bit of a blow for your team. Cougs having a great year, and you guys right there in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, you know, losing Tommy is going to be a big blow for our team. You lose 20 points a game, 9 boards and 4 assists. That's just statistically what he does for you. He does so many different things, you know, for our team, and he gives our guys a lot of confidence playing out there. You know, him being 28 is considered an old man in our team.
You know, good thing is you got him back next year. What does this do long term for Tommy?
Well, you know, I think the rest of the team is probably going to maybe prosper with Tommy being out. They'll have to do a lot more. But, you know, I don't know. I tell you what, you don't get to be a better basketball player sitting on your rear end. You get to be a better basketball player playing basketball. So it probably hurts Tommy.
Kevin, appreciate it. Bob?
All right, thanks, Scott. Kevin McHale, the man who came in here to Minnesota, has done a whale of a job since his retirement as a player.
Great job. Great, outstanding job of really assembling a fine team. And that's such a tough blow for this young franchise. But, again, they will grow from this if they continue to play together and other players step up.
6:14 to go in the third quarter. Rockets by 5. Tom Hammond takes it inside, dishes to Stanley Roberts, who has 7 points, only 3 at the half, 4 in this third period.
Roberts only averages 5 points, but 7. Certainly has been more aggressive in this game than I've seen him in a long time. At both ends of the floor defensively, not moving, going for the face for Olajuwon has really caused him some problems.
Another 3 from Matt Maloney this time. 6-point Rockets lead. Cut back to 4. Stephon Marbury answers with 2 at the other end.
And you can't tell me these two guys aren't trying to go head to head. Maloney comes down, buries a 3, and Stephon comes right back up the floor and lets Matt know who's the man on the floor.
Kevin Willis from the baseline over Tom Hammond. 60-54 Rockets. Marbury ran right into the chest of Matt Bullard, and I thought that was a good no call. Then we got a loose ball foul.
You know, Matt Maloney's done an excellent job defensively on Stephon Marbury. Didn't go for the fake, was being shuffling, and Marbury has a quick first step, and all Maloney did was just shell him right into where the center of the defense was.
Fouls on loose ball fouls on Clyde Drexler, his first personal. It'll be T-Wolves ball. Garnett. And 1. Charles just returned to the game and immediately committed foul on Kevin Garnett.
You have 6'11" going against 6'6", and all Garnett does is just turn around, square up on Bullard and Barkley, fires, and goes to the free throw line.
They changed that. That's not on Barkley. The foul is going to be assessed to Bullard.
Amazing how that happens. If that would only happen when I was playing, I would have never fouled out.
Stop it. You know it happened. How many times you foul out? Once, maybe?
I fouled out the wrong time. Put it that way.
10 to play. 10 to shoot. And Drexler misses. Stephon Marbury. Intercepted by Bullard. Not a good pass. Drexler as Willis. Stanley Roberts. Now that's not a good foul.
That's not a good foul, but you have to go up and contest that. Roberts that time a little late rotating over on that weak side help. That was just a good pass as far as Drexler was concerned, drawing in the defense a little bit. It was tough for Roberts to respond to that, and Kevin Willis just took it strong to the rack.
Willis has 14 points tonight.
Quietly getting it done. Quiet 14 points.
7 boards. He's averaging nearly 9 rebounds a game this year. He's down slightly from his career numbers of around 9 rebounds.
If you look at every other department, he's been absolutely sensational and consistent for this Rockets team.
63-57 Houston. Roberts against Willis. 7 on the shot clock. 4 on the shot clock. 2. Marbury's runner. Beat the buzzer. I was worried more about the shot clock than Marbury.
Oh boy, just smooth, just smooth.
4-point Rockets lead. 4 minutes to go, third period. Drexler had Bullard open for a 3, didn't get it to him. Shot clock down to 6. Willis missing. Garnett rebounding. He has 11 rebounds, does the young man Kevin Garnett, to go with his 15 points. Clyde against Terry Porter. Bullard gets it this time for the 3. Rattled it out of there. Willis with the rebound.
Oh, he had a clean look at that one. That's been the second one that's rattled out for Bullard.
Timeout is called with 18 on the shot clock. Timeout called by Houston.
17 points, 5 dishes.
21 years old today. 3:18 to go in the period. 4-point Rockets lead. Drexler against Garnett. Got right up in his face. May got a piece of it. Marbury and Terry Porter are the guards. Garnett, Roberts, and Hammond up front for the T-Wolves. Garnett's turnaround jumper.
Yeah,
sweet.
See, that's the key right there for Kevin Garnett. Matt Bullard was really trying to beat him up on the blocks, force him to go out on the perimeter, but Garnett just held his position and turned around for the nice jumper.
17 in the game tonight for Kevin Garnett. 7 on the shot clock. Willis in deep. 4 on the shot clock, intercepted. And the foul as Terry Porter goes down at half court. Drexler. T-Wolves have committed only 2 in this period. 63-61, 2-point game Rockets. Chance to tie. Olajuwon's been on the bench a while here in this period. Garnett open. Rare miss when he's that open.
Gotta make those.
Drexler. I know he was bothered by Garnett. Porter. That's a triple. That's another lead for the Timberwolves by 1. 7-0 T-Wolves run with 1:42 to go in the period. Maloney beats Marbury.
Boy, what a tough basket by Matt Maloney. You cannot relax on the Houston Rockets.
11 in the quarter from Matt. He's 4 out of 4. Marbury got up, had it blocked. He couldn't pick it up himself, or he dropped it. They might have called him for a dribble. Marbury.
Oh, wow.
Stephon Marbury went in. He lost the ball. He lost his way. He lost his dribble. He took it back, made the dish.
Hey, just stayed with it. You don't get any extra points for it being stylish. Just execute it.
The 15th lead change in this game. Bullard is fouled by Marbury.
And that should be 3 free throws.
Yeah, he was
and
way
boy, you
beyond
see
the
they're slithering through the defense, dishes it off, draws the defense, and the nice finish by the big man.
Bullard will shoot the free throw if it's 3.
3 free throws.
That's a 75% free throw shooter. Thunder Sports continues to bring you great NBA action every week. Tuesday. Next week, we'll have the Heat and the Jazz. Brent Barry, now a member of the Miami Heat. He's got a sore ankle, though. He'll probably be ready by then. Lakers at the Pacers on Wednesday night on TBS. Then on Friday on TNT, the Lakers come back here to Minnesota, and we'll play the Timberwolves in this building.
Very interesting to see Pat Riley get Brent Barry to play some defense.
I know one thing. If Brent Barry's going to play defense, it'll be now.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Pat Riley was just effusive in his praise. He really likes the upside potential of him.
There's no question. I mean, Brent Barry was a talent with his size, his ball handling skills, his ability to get to the rim, three-point shot. He's got the whole package. Just needs to work a little harder at the defensive end.
The fake, the lay-in, Stephon Marbury.
Finger off the glass.
T-Wolves back in the lead again. 13 seconds to go in the third period. We've seen some exciting plays here tonight. Stephon is having his own birthday celebration.
He's putting on a show.
Double team on Charles. Bullard. Kevin Garnett almost got that. It still went in at the buzzer, and Matt Bullard has been draining him tonight. That's his fourth 3 on the evening. He has 14 points.
If there's any questions on whether or not the Houston Rockets are true to form or back to form, let this be an
things don't go our way. We really have a tendency, like a lot of young players, to dip our heads and maybe feel sorry for ourselves a little bit. Not having Googs, I think the one thing that will help those guys, especially in the long haul, is that they're going to have to learn that they really got to play at a more level pace, that there can't be as many ups and downs, that they've got to play at a plateau, and that plateau has to be relatively high.
The words of Flip Saunders on the absence of Tom Gugliotta. We just learned at halftime that Gugliotta is going to have surgery on his ankle. He will be out for the rest of the year, and yes, they learn, but yes, they also have to really kind of change the way they play. I thought that was a good point by Flip.
It really will, but this will be a test for this young franchise to see how they respond to adversity.
Barkley against Hammonds. Matt Maloney's going to try to penetrate. Kick to Bullard. He has 4 threes. He steps in. This is the jumper. Too close, probably.
Exactly. That might be the key. Move them in.
Sam Mitchell on the floor now. Wearing number 42 for Minnesota. With Hammonds and Porter and Roberts.
Oh, that's right. Good move. Good move. Good move. Turned the corner, got the defender on his back, and just extended his body towards the basket. Slight hesitation to see where the seams were, where the gaps were in the defense, gets the defense on your back, watches the ball all the way to the basket, and finishes.
Stephon goes to the free throw line. He's a 70% free throw shooter. And Marbury has 22. Inside, Willis missing. Hammonds rebounding. Stephon working on Maloney into the paint. Shot clock to 10. Roberts fouled as he drives. Rated Barkley or Willis.
Once that gets moving, there's no stopping it. Good cutting to the basket by Stanley Roberts.
Calling it on Charles Barkley. Look at our centers. Akeem Olajuwon, who's in the game now, has played very limited minutes tonight, has only 5 points. And Olajuwon, up till the end of the third quarter, was only 2 of 9 from the floor and had contributed only 3 rebounds.
Oh, Stanley Roberts has been sensational this game with 9 points, but normally averages only about almost 16.5, almost 17 minutes a game, is up to 30 plus, has really played solid at both ends of the floor.
Roberts. Oh, thought he was going for the twin killing there, but no.
But it looked better than the bank.
Wolves 71, Rockets 70. Flip Saunders said sometimes he hit his first one and bank in the second one.
Oh, my goodness.
And he actually did
How
that earlier.
prophetic that was.
Illegal defense is the call. That's the first. Be a sideline out of bounds for the Houston Rockets, trailing by a point with 10:36 to go in the game. A key game for these two teams because the Minnesota Timberwolves are in 7th place in the Western Conference. Houston is in 8th place and trying to move up. And they play again on later in the week.
Charles trying to back in the defense right there. Does he shuffle his feet? Good call by a couple of times. Before he even put the ball down, both his feet were moving. Good call by the official.
Hammonds, they're just telling him to shoot it.
Yeah, they're daring him.
So he does.
And that's why they were daring him.
Good dare. T-Wolves by 1. Tommy Hammonds is 1 for 4. Tonight he's on to rebound and be tough and play some defense, which he did.
No
You saw the D
foul.
and the.
Yeah, no foul on there.
He had the foul and the defense and the rebound. Here's Mitchell. Roberts stripped it away from Olajuwon, but knocked it out of bounds. Houston ball.
Boy, Barkley did an excellent job accelerating, using the baseline, and was not called for the foul right there. Tom Hammonds, I think he's still arguing that point right there, that non-call by the official.
And he just got a technical.
It wouldn't be Charles unless that gets Charles motivated. That gets Charles excited, and blood, his juices are flowing. Now Charles is in the game. He's ready to play. He's alive. He's awake.
How about this? This is his 3rd technical that's been called on him during his birthday games in his career.
Being consistent.
Now that's
consistency.
That's detailed statistics there. Porter misses the technical. T-Wolves lead at 71-70. One of the things that Rudy Tomjanovich was talking to us about, was worried about his Houston Rockets, is last year and the previous year, the Rockets, if they had a lead going into the 4th quarter, we're going to win the ball game. They led going into this 4th quarter by 2. He says they've been losing those leads this year.
Well, it's been a different ball team. You know, you've had a lot of inconsistency in their play because of all the injuries that they've had.
That's the 4th foul on Roberts. We, of course, ask him why, and he says, be darned if I know.
Yeah.
It comes from different reasons, different people. He says he thinks one of the reasons is they don't have the defensive stops they need. Got that basket from Olajuwon. That's only his 3rd field goal of the night. Rockets now lead by a point.
If you notice Akeem Olajuwon, especially on his moves on the block, everything is a turnaround jumper. It's not the traditional or the old Olajuwon. A nice acceleration by Barkley. The old Olajuwon that would split the defense in the middle with the jump hook. Maybe not too comfortable about the stability of his knee right now, Bob.
Yeah, could very well be. He's played limited minutes tonight, but Charles leaking out. Ellie spots him. Here's the veteran savvy. 9:08 to go in this ball game. Rockets lead it by 3. Marbury left alone. Maloney was late getting there. Followed by Garnett.
Boy, Kevin Garnett looking over at Calvin Murphy right next to us, giving him a hard time. Calvin, what are you saying to the man? Leave him alone.
Calvin, the broadcaster for Houston. That's like having 6 men on the floor. He works on Garnett, who has 19 points and 12 boards. Maloney, not this time, make it 13 rebounds for Kevin Garnett. Chance for the T-Wolves to gain the lead again. There has not been a double-digit lead in this game. Tom Hammonds turnaround.
Big shot by Hammonds.
He was only 1 of 4 before he took that one. Cleveland beats New Jersey. Orlando, I don't know how they're doing it, but Chuck Daly's earning his money down there. They beat Indiana tonight at Orlando. Let's take a look at KG.
Boy, you see Marbury with a wide open shot. Doesn't finish it, but KG going up with a one-handed deuce. Can I see it from the baseline?
They say he's 6'11". Cheryl swears he's 7.
He is 7.
But 2 games before tonight, he's playing the 2 guard.
He is 7 feet, 125.
Wow. By the way, that was a 5th foul on Stanley Roberts going out of the game. Parks is in. Let's go to Scott Hastings.
Guys, I did an interview earlier before the game with Kevin Garnett, and I called him a 7-footer. and he scolded me. He said I'm 6'11", which also brought back memories of myself. There's something about 7 foot that means uncoordinated, that when you're 6'11" or 6'10", that's okay. But when you get over that 7, you don't want to be called 7 foot.
Well, I think Cheryl has busted it. He's 7.
And he is 7 feet. I don't care. 7 feet and ringing wet, 120.
T-Wolves 77, Rockets 76. Sam Mitchell hits it. What a game. Good one. 7:43 to go at the Target Center. Big game in terms of playoff seedings between these two teams. They're going to give them continuation. No basket. Wave off the best. But the foul.
See, the big difference right there defensively, Stanley Roberts was able to keep Olajuwon with his big body out of the middle. Cherokee Parks then was not able to do that.
Roberts on the bench with 5. Parks picked up his 5th there.
Oh, what a move.
And as you say, couldn't go up on defense that time because he has 5.
Oh, my goodness, what a baseline move. Just tremendous footwork by the Green.
Olajuwon has 6 in this period after having a very quiet first 3 quarters. Rockets are back up by 1. Seesaw game. 8 on the shot clock for Marbury from 16. Garnett keeping it alive. Back in. The jump hook by Mitchell, but credit Kevin Garnett.
Hey, these T-Wolves continue to be active, aggressive, going after every loose ball.
The T-Wolves beat Houston in overtime early in the year in their first meeting. They know Houston's coming off a back-to-back playing last night. Houston's 4-7 in back-to-backs. They know they got a good chance to get them here. Parks with the rebound. Minnesota, how about this? 17 second chance points. Houston only 2. Houston has the numbers on the fast break tonight for offensive rebounding. Going to Minnesota. Mitchell thought about it.
I shouldn't have thought about it. Don't hesitate pulling the trigger. We'll see if they come up with it again. Active. That's it. Coming up with all the loose balls.
You see Marbury, he was on the other side of the court. He stepped over to get it on this half just in time. Parks rakes it out of bounds. You know what it looks like we're seeing here? Obviously the veteran expertise of Houston with the live legs.
The live legs.
Here's an example of it.
Oh, Garnett has just been so active on the offensive boards. Again, Marbury going up, not being able to bury, but he stays with it, tipping the ball to himself, firing it off, and then picks it up, Sam Mitchell, with the 5-foot hook.
Now Garnett trying to guard Olajuwon. Double team. 10 on the shot clock. Olajuwon, 7 on the shot clock. Ball fake. Now he shoots it. Good D.
Good defense.
Mitchell lost the rebound to Eddie Johnson, who stuck it back up and in. The scorer finds a way. 80-79 Houston.
Hanging around the basket. Hanging around the basket.
Eddie Johnson in his 16th year. Garnett couldn't get to that one. Barkley could. Now the Rockets with a 1-point lead and the ball. 5:17 remaining in this game. Rockets have won 3 in a row, 5 of 6 since the All-Star break. Barkley working on Hammonds. Good D by Hammonds. Barkley down, no call. It's 5 against 4. Charles still sitting on the other end. Somebody should be open.
Give it to him down low. There you go.
Garnett, ball fake, and a slam. It's a power play. In more ways than one.
Rudy T getting a timeout. Settle the troops.
Well, Charles was having, he says, it's my birthday, I can cry if I want to. He was pouting down there while Minnesota throws it down and takes the 1-point lead. Well, we said it was Charles' party. He could pout if he wants to, but it did cost him 2. Here's Charles trying to beat Tom Hammonds. Doesn't get the call. Now watch this, Cheryl. Is this in slow motion?
Boy, you know what? Hey, leave the birthday boy alone. That's 35 years old, trying to get up there. Obviously not upset. The last couple of times that he's driven the baseline has not received the call.
Just see it down at the other end.
And then
he didn't have to see it close up.
Man, and Garnett with a nice move around the drain, finishing it.
Charles is struggling this half. 2 points, 1 for 4 from the floor, 2 rebounds, no assists, no blocks.
No calls.
No calls. 27 lead changes in the game. So it's close, and Minnesota's been doing all right in the last 11. 9-2 in close games, and most of their games they play are very close. Crowd very noisy. Wolves up by 1. 10 on the shot clock for the Dream. Rebound, Stanley Roberts playing with 5 fouls. Barkley went down again, but this time he gets back down.
Roberts put his entire body on Olajuwon. Good play, quick shot. See, you're taking a shot with 24 or only a couple of seconds off like that. Work the ball around the perimeter, even though he was wide open. You've got to execute in your half-court offense and exercise some patience. Barkley
got Hammond's airborne, misses. Garnett with the rebound. He has 15 boards tonight, and it's the T-Wolves by 1 with 3:59 remaining. Inside to Hammonds. Double team on Tom. And he's fouled. Now that's a good question. Is that on? The question is, 4th foul on Olajuwon. Why the double team on Tom
Why
Hammonds?
you would double down on Tommy Hammonds? He is not a threat right there. All you're doing is opening yourself up for a foul, a cheap foul, just like Olajuwon got. You don't need a double team on him.
With 3:47 to go, that's 4 on Olajuwon. Roberts with 5.
Unless, Bobby, you're trying to come up with a quick score.
And Olajuwon's fully capable of that, so we'll give that to him. How about that?
That sounds good.
Looking for Roberts against the King, trying to get his 5th foul. Roberts backed in. Missed it. Out of control. Missed it. T-Wolves up by a point still. 27 lead changes in this game. Olajuwon.
Olajuwon can put the ball through his legs as much as he wants. Stanley Roberts is not moving.
You can't.
Exactly.
I'm not buying the fact.
The Dream can head and shoulder fake through the legs around the back. Stanley Roberts is not what? Moving.
I'd want say it with me. Moving. Rockets by 1. Marbury. That's a 2. He stepped just over the line. That's the 28th lead change. 29th, actually. As though you'd care, but it has been close. Roberts with 5 fouls. Double team. Liz Maloney open. Roberts rebound stripped by Olajuwon. Then Hammonds gets it. Olajuwon goes down. He's all right. It's 5 against 4 again. Olajuwon still not down court.
This is when you want to execute.
Oh, traveling ball. Just as you said,
17 seconds to work with. Set it up, back it up. Olajuwon, boy, got an elbow right in the back from Tom Hammonds. Misses that, gets the ball back, goes up, misses the 5-foot shot, shoved slightly by Tom Hammonds.
That was the first Minnesota turnover in the last 15 minutes. Drexler too quickly. Gets it to lay in. Garnett could not get to it.
Boy,
Rockets by a point.
So well. Uses his body so well as a shield going to the hole.
Drexler has only 6 points in this game. 29 last night. Followed by Garnett. Off the Marbury miss. Marbury wanted a foul, didn't get it. Flip Saunders said, I know it's your birthday, but get up.
Hey, it's all good as long as you have someone on the offensive boards like KG.
Listen to this crowd. They really love the Timberwolves. And they've had a wonderful effort here tonight, leading it by a point over the Rockets with 1:53 remaining.
You see the pick and roll going right there. Marbury's going to try to advance the basketball to the basket, pulls up, and on the weak side, block is KG.
Minnesota has 19 second-half points tonight. Houston only 4.
For 27 years,
Point. Timberwolves lead right now. It was close previously, just over a month ago. Tom Gugliotta saved his best for last, capping a 33-point effort in that game. Then last December, Clyde Drexler's runner in the lane with time winding down gave the Rockets a 96-94 lead, but the outcome of the game remained in question as Minnesota's Chris Carr was fouled on the ensuing inbounds play, missed the free throw, and then got some words from Barkley. So there's Charlie after his words of wisdom. 85-84 T-Wolves with 1:53 to go. Both teams with a foul to give. Houston with 2 and a 20. Minnesota with 3 timeouts and a 20.
Time for the T-Wolves to dig in, get a stop here, contest everything.
Loose ball foul on Houston. Hammonds got pushed. Barkley did it. And Charles now has 2 personals. So now the Rockets have committed 4 team fouls. The next foul committed by the Rockets will send the T-Wolves to the line. To Hammonds from Marbury. That was a nice pass.
That was a big shot by Tom Hammonds.
Poise.
Oh, excellent poise. Excellent half-court execution. Pick and roll, reverse it all the way, and find the open man.
T-Wolves by 3. Spin move inside. Olajuwon fouled by Roberts. He's out of here. That'll be the foul out of the game for Stanley Roberts. He will have to go to the bench, and he's done a whale of a job on Akeem Olajuwon.
Certainly has.
9 points, 9 rebounds for Stanley Roberts. He is getting a standing ovation here at the Target Center by many of these fans.
They haven't seen this type of commitment in the game from Stanley Roberts. This is a different team when they get this type of effort from the big man at both ends of the floor.
You know, Kevin McHale got in his face and said, big man, we got to have some heavy-duty work.
They needed him to do, 9 points. More importantly, the fact of what he was able to do. Akeem Olajuwon at the defensive end, laying the lumber, all 295.
Now, who's going to draw the assignment on the Dream? My guess is Garnett.
You have to go with Garnett.
Garnett, Mitchell, Hammonds up front with Porter and Marbury in the backcourt. The biggest lead this quarter was 3 going into that free throw, but Olajuwon misses. It's a lead of 2 now. Timberwolves with minute 18 remaining. 13 lead changes in this period alone. Mitchell, Leonard, Barkley with a big board.
Boy, that's a tough shot.
Minute to go, chance to tie for the Rockets. They've won 5 out of 6 since the break, 3 in a row. Played last night. Knocked out of bounds by Porter. 14 on the clock. The ball will belong to Houston. Barkley just called a 20-second timeout. That was the one and only 20-second that Houston had remaining, with under a minute remaining in this game. Either team with a foul to give.
Terry Porter was trying to lobby to the officials that one of Houston's players touched the ball. He tipped it, fouled it off him. Should have been going the other way. Did not get the call. But Terry Porter has just been absolutely instrumental in this game as well. Heavy minutes at his age. But here again, you see from the weak side, the pass is coming down low. That's a gray area. That's hard. That's hard to see from that angle. And there you see him trying to point it out. I did not touch it. That went off Barkley.
Scott Hastings, what do you have? Cherokee Parks on the bench. He has 5 fouls anyway. 14 on the shot clock for Houston. 57 in the game. 57 seconds. Olajuwon. Mitchell's on it. Ball fake. Olajuwon, the Dream. 11 points in the quarter. After having a nightmare first half, Akeem Olajuwon has come back in this game with 13 in the period, had only 5 after 3 quarters, and we are tied at 87.
Doesn't matter how you start, but how you finish.
5 Rockets have 10-plus points. Olajuwon, 11 in the quarter. Scott Hastings, how about Minnesota?
I tell you, Flip Saunders looking for people to step up as well. He's going to run a play, just get the ball inbounds. Going to use a little time, but look for a double screen over here in the far right corner near their bench. Try to get open a clean jump shot. If not, they want Marbury to get to the basket. Look for people to dish off to if he doesn't have the layup. Guys?
All right, thanks. They're taking the ball out of bounds all the way down at the other end with 51 seconds remaining in the game. Tied at 87. Neither team with a foul to give. Both have a couple of timeouts remaining.
The Rockets have to make sure that if the shot is missed, you have to find out where Kevin Garnett is for the weak side rebound.
Oh, what defense by Houston. Knocked out of bounds by Akeem Olajuwon. He's arguing, but it'll be Minnesota ball with 13 on the shot clock. This is what Rudy T said. We need a defensive stop on this Houston team if we're going to win in the 4th period. Marbury all the way to the hoop, missed it. Barkley lost it off his foot. 30 seconds in the game. Wait a minute, there's been a whistle away from the ball.
A loose ball foul on Barkley.
And there's no fouls to give.
Oh, how can you call that? You're going for the ball.
And Charles has a technical already, so he has to keep his mouth shut.
Boy, that was a nice, strong drive by Marbury, who doesn't finish the ball. After that, it's a mad scramble, goes through. Oh, you cannot call that a takedown. That is just two players going for a loose ball from a different angle again. Sam Mitchell and Barkley are going to get tangled up. No, that is not a foul. Disagree with that call.
Mitchell, 84% free throw shooter, hits the first one. T-Wolves by a point, 30 seconds remaining in the game. Mitchell's 3 out of 3 from the line tonight. Mitchell with that Band-Aid over his left eye. That's from 6 stitches suffered in the Detroit game on Wednesday night, in the Orlando game on Wednesday night.
Mitchell,
gets them both.
83% free throw shooter, cans both.
Timeout, Houston. 30.2 seconds to go. T-Wolves by a pair.
Go farther. By Red Lobster, nothing but nets. Red Lobster, because life on land is dry. And by Fila, featuring the new GH4s. Change the game.
Wolves by 2 here in Minneapolis. You think this is good? We have more hot teams coming your way on Turner. Coming up on Tuesday, the Heat and the Jazz. Then Turner Sports brings you a double dose of the Lakers. First of all, on Wednesday on TBS at Indiana. Then the Lakers come here to play these very game Minnesota Timberwolves next Friday. Crowd on their feet. 30.2 seconds. Wolves by 2. Cheryl, they got to go to a team, right?
You have to go to the dream on that. Try to isolate him down in the post, back him in.
Garnett covering him. He's got low position.
Oh, good move. That's exactly the shot that they were looking for.
Tied at 89. Timeout Minnesota. With 21.5 seconds to go. Houston now has only 1 timeout remaining. Minnesota has a 1 and a 20.
All Houston wanted to do is isolate Dream on the blocks, one-on-one. Garnett tips the ball on the way up. You see him get a piece of it, but it still goes in. You see, from a low angle, Garnett's going to get popped up. Olajuwon goes up for the second time. Now watch Garnett react off, just tipping it just barely, but the shot still goes.
Olajuwon has 13.
Top of the key. If Marbury can get to the basket, they will get to it. And as you can see right now, Minnesota's going to take it out full court to use some of that timeout.
Oh, Cheryl's the one. I'm telling you. That's why she's a coach.
Lucky guess.
That's why she gets to work with you and I, Scott.
That's true. The A-team.
All right, let's see if they do it now. Some pressure by Maloney.
Oh, good
The
defense.
trap at half court. Garnett misses. 7 seconds.
The shot.
Still time. 5 seconds. 3. The prayer.
Oh!
Overtime.
The official is
Now hold it.
indicating there still might be time on the clock.
Yeah, let's wait and see what's called. Steve Jabby just watched up here. Walked up signaling 3 seconds, I believe.
3 seconds,
I think
3
Houston
tenths?
called. Yeah,
I mean,
they put 3 tenths up. Houston called a timeout with 3 tenths of a second. That would be Houston's last, but obviously they don't care because they can move it to half court.
yeah, that's true.
And, and we could be headed to overtime. Interestingly enough, the first time these two teams met earlier in the year, it was overtime, and Minnesota won 116 to 115. Gugliotta, who's now going to be lost for the rest of the year, had 33 points. Matt Bullard just came in front of our table where he's inbounding the ball. He looked over at Cheryl and I and said, "Watch this."
This is going to be interesting.
Like we would not watch this at 3 tenths of a second. Cherokee Park's talking right in the face. It's a great seat you and I have here, Cheryl. Inbounds the ball. The lob. They wanted to go with the Dream, but Sam Mitchell blocked him out. He couldn't get in to get the lob. Oh, we watched it, Matt, but it
Yeah, that's
didn't go down.
tough. That's a tough play to make, especially with Garnett underneath. The pass was a little bit weak.
We're going to overtime. Houston's 1-2 this year in extra innings. Minnesota's 3-3. But Cherokee Parks himself is carrying 5 personal fouls.
And Tom Hammonds will get some work as well, putting a body on Olajuwon. If I'm Houston, That's who I'm going to first and foremost. Pound it down in the paint to the Dream.
Hammond's only with 2 fouls, so you might lean him on Akeem if Park goes out. Kevin Garnett just doesn't have the body strength. Barkley with the double team. They go quickly to Elijah Wall. Against Parks. Maloney. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Drexler against Garnett. Blows by the youngsters. Missed the reverse. Parks stepped on the line. Houston ball. They're saying that the ball didn't change hands. They're not giving them 24 seconds again. They're asking for it. The officials are now discussing it. 7 remains on the shot clock if they do not put a new 24, and they don't. So the ball didn't change hands. Bullard with 3 seconds. The leaner. In and out of there. Into the hands of Marbury, who saved it. It ain't pretty.
It's not pretty, but still, we talk about the lively legs, the young legs, the hustle points that this young Minnesota T-Wolves had, and then the big shot by the 21-year-old Stephon Marbury.
So a 2-point Timberwolves lead in this overtime. 4:10 remaining. And Stephon has 26 tonight. Elijah against Parks. The double team. Down the shot clock, back into King. Still double team.
Oh,
got it anyway.
Tough shot. Tough shot. There's nothing you can do about that. You had the double down on Marbury. Parks did a good job of really putting his body on there. That's just the Dream. That's just an all-star, future Hall of Fame.
Tied at 91. Garnett inside. Tom Hammonds gets it to go. He's made some big shots here tonight.
He certainly has. And you talk about people stepping up at the right times. Tom Hammonds has certainly done that. Every time his number's been called, he's produced.
9 points of the game for Hammonds. The lob to Akeem, who missed it, got his own board. Barkley missed the 3. Garnett with a rebound. 17 boards tonight for Kevin Garnett. T-Wolves leading by 2.
This is a test of maturity to see them execute the T-Wolves and not go for the quick shot, go for a high percentage shot.
Did you see the crossover? A crossover from a 7-footer. Baby, baby, baby. He says, don't call me 7 feet. I say I'm 6'11" because I couldn't cross over at 7, right, Cheryl?
Hey, I'll call you whatever you want, Mr. Garnett, with the crossover on the Dream all the way to the rim.
It's a 4-point T-Wolves lead.
Stephon Marbury is going to advance to the free throw line, pull up square shoulders, follow through nothing but the bottom of the net. And then KG with the mad crossover, accelerating, getting to the rim.
I love that shot. It's a 4-point T-Wolves lead. Marbury and Garnett have combined for 51 points, 14 assists, and I guess they've combined for what, 17 rebounds? Does Stephon have any rebounds? He has 4. They've combined for 21 rebounds. Think of that. 95-91 T-Wolves, 2:41 to go.
Now this is when maturity sets in, getting a stop right here.
Elijah traveled, turnover. Timberwolves ball.
Elijah trying to dance down the free throw, down the baseline, gets caught underneath the basket, shuffles his feet. Good call by the official. Now the maturity right here for the T-Wolves to execute in their offense, move the ball around, not settle for the quick shot.
Porter missed it, and Cherokee Parks couldn't grab it because it was still rattling above the rim. 4-point T-Wolves lead. 2:15 to go in overtime.
Bob, can't emphasize enough, when you play a veteran team like Houston, you have to make them pay when they turn the ball over.
Elijah left alone, gets it to Drexler, 7 on the shot clock. Clyde with a lightning quick move.
See, that's the result right there. The other end, you have to go down, execute, and then you're still up by 4 points. Now it's just a 2-point game.
Until that basket, Drexler was only 3 for 17 tonight. 35-93 T-Wolves. They have 10 on the shot clock. Minute 44 in the overtime. Marbury spinning, shaking, faking, losing it. 3 seconds. Parks was hit. No call.
Hey, Charles, that either looked like a double dribble, a gallop, or a travel. Nothing was called.
Minute 26 to go. 2-point T-Wolves lead. Maybe it was a birthday gift.
Hey, happy birthday.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Down to Olajuwon. Here comes the double team. Knocked away.
T-Wolves by 2 points. They have the numbers.
Good foul. Good foul by Matt Maloney.
Terry Porter will shoot him. He's an 87% free throw shooter.
You see the defense down quickly. Minnesota's going to come down. Akeem has nowhere to go with that pass. You see Garnett coming down. You see Terry Porter going to deflect it. You have two players. Now they're going to advance the ball. Kevin Garnett would have really ran the lane. He might have had an open dunk.
Both of those missed by Porter tonight have come on technical free throws he's taken for the team because he is their best free throw shooter. 87 on the season. T-Wolves by 2. Quiet in here. Got the first one inside the NBA coming up next. Ernie Johnson, Reggie Theus, Darrell Walker. I understand they'll be going into virtual land.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Porter. Minute 10 to go. Quiet crowd. Got it both. 4-point T-Wolves lead. Timeout. Houston. Garnett with 25. Marbury with 26. Minnesota has a foul to give. Minute 10 to go. Crowd on their feet at an appreciative Target Center in Minneapolis. Yeah, pump it up, Stephon. Birthday man. Call him birthday man now. He's 21.
Yes, he is.
Maloney. 4-point T-Wolves lead. Show you how close it's been. That matches their biggest lead of the game by 4. Bullard. Back into Barkley. Double team. Bullard again. He's going to take it with defense in his face. Rebound Parks. Porter has Garnett running. Marbury with the ball now. They'll settle it down.
Excellent decision. Excellent decision. Terry Porter was eyeing Kevin Garnett on the opposite side for the alley-oop. Elected not to do it. Passed the ball out to take some time off. 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Marbury working on Maloney. Now down to 3. Runner in the lane. Didn't go. And the shot clock buzzer went off, so that's a shot clock violation. They did run all 24 off. Do lead by 4. And the officials going over to talk about the clock right now. Make sure they got it straight. Flip Saunders with instructions to his 21-year-old point guard. What a show he's put on here tonight. That last might be
last time there, Marbury had Maloney a couple of times on that situation. When you have your player, the defensive player, on their heels, that's when you have to. And he's worried because he hasn't, like he said, been able to put his finger on what has caused them to lose those close ball games.
Olajuwon has 20 in the game, 15 in the fourth quarter, 2 in the overtime. 4-point T-Wolves lead with 29.4 seconds. Houston is out of timeouts. And remember, Minnesota has a foul to give. Drexler.
That's just a tough basket. How he dips his head and then drives the basket in time to look up and score is amazing. Got to foul quickly.
There's the pressure. Stephon Marbury fouled by Maloney, and Stephon Marbury is a 70% free throw shooter. He's only taken 1 tonight. He's 1 for 1 tonight.
I've seen Clyde Drexler do this more often than not, where he pushes the defender out, head down, dribbling, driving to the basket, and looks up at the last second to finish.
I would think, Coach Miller, that the key is he's looking up. He's got his eye on it.
He's looking up, but he looks up a split second. A missed free throw by Marbury.
He needs one of these to give him the three-point bulge. 19.3 seconds to go. Mitchell sits down. Tom Hammonds comes back in for defensive purposes.
And the bench is over here telling the players we have no timeouts. We have no timeouts.
Marbury, big free throw. Got it. Would like to have had them both for the 4. They lead it by 3, but this team is a great three-point shooting team. Drexler is fouled quickly, and that was the foul to give.
Sure was. Don't give up the 3.
14.5 seconds for Houston, trailing by 3. Bullard, Maloney, Barkley, Drexler, heck, even Elijah and all of them can shoot a 3. Got the clock running, 10 seconds. Barkley just rimmed it out of there. 4 seconds, 2.9. Barkley got it in and out of the rim. It did not go down. It would have tied. And unless there's a real miracle, the Timberwolves are going to get the Houston Rockets in overtime for the 2nd consecutive meeting this year.
Boy, Charles Barkley had a great look at the basket, had the range, got it over the defense, and just simply rattles out. He can't even believe it and said, I missed it by that much.
Terry Porter at the free throw line. 87% shooter. 2 out of 4 tonight. 3-point Wolves lead. 4-point Wolves lead. And the next free throw would, for all practical purposes, wrap it up. That one was a huge one. Tom Gugliotta looking on. He'll be lost for the rest of the season. We learned tonight he will have ankle surgery for bone spurs and be out the rest of the way. But this is a very competitive Timberwolves team. Porter gets them both. Houston, no timeouts. 2.9 seconds. Barkley rifles it down court. Did anybody touch it? If not, Minnesota will get the ball underneath, right underneath their basket. They do. Nobody touched it. So Minnesota with the lead gets it on their own end, and that'll just be it.
That's it.
The Timberwolves win it 100-95. Stephon Marbury has had a whale of a ball game tonight. Marbury with 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists on his birthday. And the Timberwolves get the victory. And as we told you before, this is a big one because the Minnesota Timberwolves are in 7th place in the Western playoff seedings, 2.5 behind Portland for 6th, 2 ahead of Houston for 8th. And on his birthday,
there you go. Go, Mom. Go, Mom. It's his birthday. It's his birthday.
happy lady is Stephon Marbury. And we have to also tell you that Kevin Garnett had a whale of a game. And I think we're going to get him over here at the table. Here he comes now, Stephon Marbury. We're going to have him join myself and Cheryl at our table. We'll wish him happy birthday, Cheryl. Too bad we don't have a present for him.
Oh, well, you know.
But I guess the victory will have
what
to be.
What do you get a millionaire for?
Happy birthday. Sit down here and get your headset on and talk to us a little bit. 27 points tonight. You had 5 boards, 10 assists. What was the key in beating this veteran, former champion Houston Rockets basketball team?
I think tonight we came out really focused. Our mindsets was to stop the inside game. We came out, we did everything we were supposed to do. We stayed focused for 48 minutes. We played hard, smart, and together tonight.
Sure.
This is a team, Steph, that you guys have tried to really overcome a lot of adversities. You're coming off a game that you didn't like against Orlando. Big game tonight. Great birthday present, huh?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it couldn't have been no sweeter. I think tonight I was really focused. You know, I think tonight me and Kevin, we were shooting the ball to win the game. We wasn't going out playing tentative. You know, we just came out and did what we had to do to win.
Stephon, how about this?
How about a little
Scott Hastings just joined us. How about it, Cheryl? Happy birthday to you.
Hey, it's your birthday. It's your birthday.
You do the rap version. I'll do the 1954
That's
version.
all right. Happy
Stephon
birthday,
Marbury,
Steph.
can you blow these candles out?
Yeah.
You still have enough breath left? No, he did everything except blow the candles out tonight. They're coming back. They're back. What defense those candles played. Look at that.
Hey, Steph, real quickly.
Your mom looking on, Steph.
Talk a little bit about Stanley Roberts and the big performance that he had in tonight's game.
Oh, he played great. I mean, even though he didn't give us a lot, you know, as far as offensively, but his presence alone by making Drain have to play defense, it helped us a lot because, you know, it made him tired on both ends of the floor.
Certainly did. Enjoy your birthday.
Thanks a lot.
Stephon,
Appreciate it.
yeah, at least have a little bite off the finger here.
Okay.
Just have a little bit. Cheryl, jump in. Oh, wish you guys could be with us.
Thanks.
Happy birthday, Stephon. Let's go directly to the studio. And Ernie,